Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Prime Sports World of College Basketball Madness presented by Prime Sports World. I told you guys I was going to come back with the national championship review, and yeah, this was a pretty dominant game. But before I start, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. As we go live 7 days a week, 24/7, bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen, here at Prime Sports World. And in case you missed this live feed, you can catch us here on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. That's Apple Podcasts, Samsung Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're looking for more fan interaction with our NBA Supreme and NFL Supreme Facebook plays, go ahead and like those groups if you're looking to get that content as well and share anything that you want. But yeah, what a game here for UConn and San Diego State. Well, really wasn't a game. Well, I would like to say this. I was kind of right when I said when I did the preview about 2 hours ago, about an hour, get 2 hours ago. I said this would kind of happen. I thought it would be a little close, but it looked like the game was. It seemed like the game was kind of out of it wasn't it wasn't even close. San Diego State made a run there late in the second half to bring it to five, but it still just didn't seem like it was like UConn was just running away with it. It just seemed like UConn was just in complete control of the whole entire game. Um, from start to finish, pretty much. I think San Diego State had a early 4 point lead, and then once they gave it up, it was just all she wrote from there. They went on a small patch, like I said, a small patch. Welcome to the show. It's TJ Hopkins here. What's going on, TJ? Yeah, and they went on a small patch. Sorry, well, TJ come into the show. They went on a small patch there where they just kind of went scoreless in the first half, and that's kind of all she wrote. Once UConn took the lead, second half they were just in complete control. San Diego State
Yo,
shot, UConn shot 35% from three, which kind of shocked me a little bit because San Diego State is the best 3 point defense in the nation, only allowing teams to shoot 17%, under 20% all season from the 3 point range. They shot 35% from three, but it really wasn't that. I said the key to the game was they had to out rebound Sanogo, Newton, those guys down low, and they just couldn't do that.
can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you perfectly.
All right. Yeah, I watched the game. It was just straight dominance from start to finish. San Diego State. We talked about it in the group chat. San Diego State, the closest they got was five, and then I think Hawkins came down and hit that three to make it back up to eight. And it's just like, yeah, no, not today. Like y'all ain't finna walk us down like y'all did. Everybody else know. I just don't understand why SDSU was trying to steadily post up Sinago. Like, he's bigger than y'all, he's stronger than y'all. You're not backing him down. You're not moving him.
He's a brick wall. I
He's a
mean,
brick wall.
I mean, like, look, man. Even from Tristan Newton, they got from the guard play, from the shooting guard, they got 19 and 10. I was saying that their guards can rebound. Caravan's a big dude. He got 5 and 5. Klingen's a big dude, another 7 footer. He came off the bench. He was tall. He was hurting them with their size. And you're exactly right, man. And that's the problem is that San Diego State in the Mountain West Conference and some of the other teams they face in like FAU, like some of the other teams that they face, if you look at it, they face like Creighton, they face FAU to get here. Like teams that don't have that big size like UConn, that hurt them. They don't see that a lot in the Mountain West Conference.
No, because in those situations, San Diego State, they were the physical team.
Right.
All right. So when you got a team that can not just match your physicality, but outclass your physicality, then you don't know what to do.
Exactly. And another thing is that San Diego State is the team that isn't they have three guards. They have Trammell, they got Butler, they got Bradley, but those guys aren't particularly good 3 point shooting team. So when they're shooting threes and they're trying to keep up with the scoring of UConn, I mean that's one thing you said it. They try to jump it into the post, and most nights they out physical teams, but not tonight. They can't do that against a team like UConn.
No, they they couldn't. It was ugly.
It was
It
ugly.
got ugly.
And so some of the bullet points I got, UConn wins its
Steve
fifth
Rose.
national title in program history.
Turn it back off.
Penn Bay Walker was there. He was pulling up the five.
Ah,
Walker looked like he was lit. Boy, he was sweating. He looked like he had a couple drinks in him. But that's neither here nor there. For real, he did. He like we got five of them, dog. We got five of them. And then one thing that's really key is that this run by UConn, I like when I want to give them props because I said it. For it seemed like they had a patching from this late December to late January where they went 2-6, and that's because they're trying to figure out a way. They didn't really have a true point guard, and Danny Hurley did a really good job at adjusting
them damn Hurleys.
and running the offense through Andre Jackson, who's a tall. He's not a point guard. They don't have a true point guard on that team. If you didn't notice, if you notice, like the one kid had 4 steals on San Diego. They had forget his dang name. Close to have like 2 steals. They had God Lee. Well, who's the one kid? I think Butler was it Tremel or Butler. They were picked. Oh no, it was it was Tremel had 3 steals. He almost had four. And it's because his ball pressure on some of those guards. So it kind of is like when UConn runs the offense through a guy like Jackson. He's taller than some of those guys, so he can get in that mid post, and he could just set it up for his shooters, set it up for the post guys. But yeah, this team was dominant. I mean, they're compared to the 2009 North Carolina team. If you guys don't remember, that team was blowing out everybody. They won by a total of 20 points per game, every single game, total, because every single game they've won by a total of, double digits. And then when you look at Sonogo, he had one of the greatest Final Four runs of all time. He's one of 4 players in the last 40 years of the tournament to average 20 points per game and 65% from the average 65% from the field. Who are the other guys? Let me tell you. You got Akeem Olajuwon, Christian Leitner, and Corliss Williamson. So that's a hell of a group right there.
It's a hell of a group.
That's a hell of a
And
group.
them damn Hurleys, man. Like they just all they know is winning. All they know is greatness. You Bobby Hurley from his days at Duke playing and winning. And he became a successful coach in his own right. Now you got Dan Hurley doing his thing. Dan Hurley has a son who's probably going to become a coach when his playing career is all said and done. But real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out to Brian Butcher. Like, man, just and they kind of highlighted it's like 30 years after back-to-back national championship appearances with the Fab Five at Michigan. He
Mm-hmm.
finally gets another crack at it, and he just comes up short again. This just the hats off to him. Like no one, if you'd have told me at the start of the Final Four that it would be what was it, a 4 seed, 2 5s, and a 9, that would be the Final Four. No
Yeah,
way.
no, you're right. I would have told you you're crazy. I honestly would. I honestly thought we were at least gonna get Alabama and Houston in the national. I picked Alabama. I picked Duke to win it because I thought Duke in the second half of the season, other than UConn, was and UConn kind of flew under the radar a little bit, but other than UConn, I mean Duke was hot as hell coming
Hot.
into the tournament, and so I picked Duke to win it. But as the tournament kind of went on, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I think Alabama's gonna go to at least the Final Four, and I think Houston might go to the Final Four, and they got upset. So,
Now we'll get
um,
up a little like so. You know how ESPN do a little tournament challenge. I enter that pretty much every year. One of my brackets was a UConn bracket, so has shout out to me. But
shout out to TJ.
the only reason I really picked UConn really is because like dudes like Seth Greenberg and with Jay Billis, like they were really like, hey, we could like you said, like we could talk about Duke, but the real sleeper team in this tournament is UConn. And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, well, ain't like they like they know more than I do. So I'm like, hey, let it ride. And they
And it's crazy because I mean, college basketball is one of those things like, some of the late teams like UCLA, Stanford, some of those
yeah,
West Coast teams they play at like 9, 10 o'clock, so you're not staying up.
yeah.
And then if you're a real NBA fan, you're watching some primetime basketball. you're gonna watch NBA over some college, right? So sometimes, when it comes down to it, a lot of guys that pick the brackets aren't the experts. Some of the guys that win the brackets are the people that are like, my dog picked this or my cat picked that. You know what I mean? You feel me? Like, oh, they do these weird ways to fill out a bracket, and people always win.
Like they try to
So
make it a science to it. Like they try to be like, all right, this is the best way to win. And I'm like, no, you can't do that because we saw it, right? Like we literally just see it. Like Purdue loses to
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fairleigh Dickinson. It's like you can't. There's no science to predict. What the only science that you can go off of is this team is ranked higher than this team. The
Mm-hmm.
higher ranked team should beat the lower ranked team, and that's not a safe science to pick. Like that's not the way to go about it. But to the Colin Cowherds who barely touched on the Final Four because quote no blue bloods are in this thing, you fooled yourself because that San Diego State FAU game was a classic.
Oh,
That
it
was a
was
classic
definitely a classic. Down to the wire.
down to the wire.
Definitely a
Like
classic.
Lamont Butler was .5 inches away
From
from
stepping out of
sliding out
bounds.
of bounds.
That's the this tournament. Looking back on it, man, we could touch on it. I mean, this tournament is this tournament personifies a single elimination type of
Yeah,
tournament. This is why we kind of want this in college football a little bit, right? This personifies that. There are some teams out there, they might be ranked lower than Houston, they might be ranked lower than Purdue, they might be ranked lower than Bama, but they are better matchups. They are better matchups for them.
and
And
we kind of saw in this most recent college football playoff, right? We saw TCU take Michigan to the woodshed.
exactly,
One,
because it was a bad matchup for
because
Michigan.
it's one game, it's all she wrote, it's win, go home. This
Mm-hmm.
right here, like again, Fairleigh Dickinson just straight took it to Purdue, got him out the way. Miami had a hell of a run, but everybody was still talking about who in the tournament. Duke. Miami had the ACC Player of the Year, and you're just like, oh, you gonna keep paying attention to them?
Yeah, and that's because Duke's the blue blood. I mean, Duke, and the thing about Duke is like, oh, man, they were hot as hell down the stretch, and then they won the last 12 out of 13 or something like that. And Derek Lively was coming alive, and Kyle Flipowski was he was playing pretty good all year, and Jeremy Roach was playing pretty good all year, and they kind of got it together. I'll touch on it on Friday. I kind of give y'all a little preview, but this Duke incoming, they got the number 2 recruiting class coming in. This incoming Duke class next year, John Shire did a hell of a job
Bro, I think
recruiting.
the team to watch out for next year is Michigan State.
That too. Oh, I'll touch on it because Michigan State gonna be nasty too. That's what
Bro,
I'm saying. Michigan State,
they,
Duke,
they
they
might win.
coming. They
Yeah, bro.
coming. Those
They
blue
might
bloods
be
is
the
coming
team.
back next year.
They might be the team to break the Big Ten curse, man. The Big Ten they got a bugaboo going on right now. This is like the third year in a row that the Big Ten has produced 9 teams for the tournament, and some of these teams they barely make it past the first weekend. The furthest team was who? Indiana. Indiana made it to what? The Sweet 16.
No, no, no. I think the furthest team might have been Michigan State. Might have been Michigan State,
Michigan,
if I'm
what?
not
Eli
mistaken.
8, right?
Michigan State and Penn State made it the furthest, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And
Elite.
Indiana. Indiana made it to Sweet 16 too.
So like, yeah,
I don't. I don't think Penn State made it to. I think Penn State only made it to the round of 32.
I
Michigan
think
State, I think, made it to.
I think
I think
Michigan State made it to the Elite 8, but this like, hey, but
something like
this
that.
yeah, this game right here, this championship game, like I think it was like when like UConn, Miami, FAU, and San Diego State. It was like it was kind of like all right, UConn, y'all gonna get this one because I really don't see any other teams beating them. Like I didn't see like we already just saw what happened to San Diego State, so we know
Mm-hmm.
UConn would have beat them. UConn beat them. I think UConn would have beat Miami, and
Mm-hmm.
they would have beat FAU.
I think UConn was a bad matchup for a lot of teams. UConn's a bad matchup. I think UConn's just the most solid team. I mean, they're top 15 in defense, they're top
Because
15 in offense. They're just the most balanced team from the only knock that
talked
you can
about,
have on Utah is they don't have a true point guard.
and
That's it.
I think the only thing that would have gave them problems against FAU and Miami is those two teams are long.
Right.
They long,
At
they
the
long,
guard position.
right? They long as hell. And I know FAU, they got that one big dude that's like 7'2" or whatever. So Sanago probably would have had an issue with his length, but he just bodied his little ass up and got him in foul trouble real quick. Like we
I
saw.
think I think another team that would have I think another team that would have gave UConn some problems that they kind of would have met is Purdue. Like as much as I want to say like Fairleigh Dickinson up at Penn State kind of gave them a run for their money in the Big Ten championship and everything like that.
Mhm.
But I think the size of Zach Edey would have gave Sonogo some problems. It would have gave some of them. But the thing about UConn is that they have three big bodies to throw at
Bodies,
Zach
bro.
Edey. That's what I'm
Hey,
saying. Like
they
it's
had
not just one
their own
dude; it's
lanky
three
dude
dudes.
too. They
It's
had their own
it,
tall lanky dude, and it's like, but I think the women, I think the elephant in the room that we have to talk about, and I don't know if you have a graphic built for it, is the fact that the girls' game was better than this game.
oh, the girls' game was way better than this game. I don't have a. I didn't. I touched on the LSU Iowa game in the episode the review the episode before this. But yeah, the 9.9 million viewers TV. They had to compete with Wrestle. Well, on the same day as WrestleMania.
Same
Um,
day as WrestleMania.
but the thing is that they were smart about it and they're like, okay, we're gonna do this in the afternoon instead of like midday kind of. And I kind of
Late
complained about it
evening.
late evening, so we don't have to really have to compete with WrestleMania. We'll be like the prelude to it.
And
And
what
I
kind
mean,
of at Real Talk and what helped them out was the fact that WrestleMania is going to this format of a 2 day format now.
yeah,
Right? So
yeah,
it's like you remember back in the day,
it
WrestleMania
was
used
just
to
one
be
day.
yeah, 1 day and a 6-7 hour show. That's a long
Hmm.
ass time.
Yeah, it used to be all day. Oh
It
my
used to be
gosh,
an
I remember
all day
WrestleMania
thing.
2 p.m.
So
I'm glad they split it up a little bit there.
by them right, so by them splitting it up, like it's like all right, you can start at 2 o'clock, 2:30. We don't start till maybe 3 o'clock.
Five,
Right.
four,
We
five,
don't
something
start
like
to like
that.
four. Like we don't start to like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. By that point, y'all will just be getting done.
Hmm.
We'll be kick like we'll be like getting ready to start, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I man, that game like that.
See, the thing about see, even though Iowa lost by 17 points, I think I said this is that at least Iowa made those runs in the second half that made
Yes.
you kind of be on the edge of your seat, like, oh shoot, Iowa, I was down seven. Oh shoot, I was back. Oh, they went back up. Oh, I was back down eight now. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah,
went
like
on
it
those
was
runs. They went on like 3, 4 runs in the
three,
second
four
half
run.
where it was like, oh shit. And I think they got it down to like I think the closest was like five or I
Yeah,
think it was seven
so
or something like that
so like
after being down 17.
the most important minutes of a game are easily the first five at the start of the game, the first five coming at the halftime, and the last 5 minutes of the game. Like the first five dictate how that's gonna go. Like, all right, what we got? That gives everybody a chance to be like, it's basically a fill out process. Like, what kind of game y'all trying to run? How are the refs gonna call the game? Like stuff like that. That first five out of halftime is it's important for both teams because if you up big, those first 5 minutes is like, all right, we gotta keep our foot on their necks and keep them down. Yada yada woo woo. If you down that half, it's like, all right, these first fives, if we down 10, we got to cut it to 5 in the first 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the last five, it's like, all right, once again, if you up, all right, we got to put them away, put the kids to bed. It's night time. And if
And
you down,
that's kind of what happened in this game, right? If you look at it, the
yeah,
last 7 minutes, San Diego State went on that little run and cut it to five. And I even said it in the preview. I said I think this game is a game of runs. Basketball is always a game of runs. NBA, college, high school, it doesn't matter. It's a game of runs. And whoever goes, and I said whoever goes on this last run, I think UConn, they're gonna go on that last little 8-0 run, 10-0 run to
which
kind
is
of
what
put
they
them over
did.
the top. And that's exactly what they did. They went on that last little 8 something, 10 something run, and they put them to bed. They put them to
But
bed.
I think the difference in between both games, meaning the men and the women's, is these teams, the UConns, and San Diego State, especially UConn, and you touched on it. Recruiting is bigger on that side of the field because a lot of these dudes are one and done and they transferring in and out. Yeah, yeah, woo, woo. UConn on the UConn, Iowa on the women's side, LSU on the women's side. Their best players, most of their best players, are coming back. Caitlin Clark is coming back. Angel Reese is coming back.
Yeah, because they're not eligible.
They're not
They're not
eligible. Jasmine
eligible to go to
Carson's
the
coming
draft.
back. Alexis Morris is coming back. Like they have a lot of players. A lot of their best players are coming back. And Iowa, please, for the love of God, get Caitlin Clark some help. That child ain't had no help.
What's crazy. You know what's crazy with that game is that I gave Kim Mulkey praise. I touched on the whole taunting stuff and it turned into like a race thing. It turned into a race thing and all of that stuff. And it took away from the
It took away
greatness
from the
of
game.
it took away from the game.
And I hate that.
The hell of a game plan that Kim Mulkey had, because the obvious game plan for Iowa was, oh, we're gonna double team Angel Reese. Every
Angel
time she
Reese.
touched the damn ball, we're double teaming her, we're getting the ball out of her hands. That was the game plan for Iowa, and it backfired on them because of all those threes. Jasmine Carson was open. Poa hit those threes.
Hey, but
I
hey,
mean,
but hey, but real talk, real
Angel,
talk, real talk, real
Alexis
talk,
Morris.
real talk. If that's the game plan, and it's like you like if I'm Iowa, I'm living with the fact that all right, y'all, hey, you gotta prove to me that you can hit these threes. Now, when Jasmine Carson hit her first three in a row, that's when y'all should have been like, all right, jump out on her,
Right, right.
like jump out on her. Like y'all let her hit 5 threes in a row. I mean, 5 threes in the first half, which kind of allowed Angel Reese, because she was on the bench with foul trouble in the first half. That
Yeah,
kind
three of their players, the three starters were on the bench in the first half. In the first half.
and that's kind of where people are getting on the officiating, because it's like, how is Iowa's best three players, like three out of their starting five, get 4 fouls? Like, how are y'all like
And
how?
so second half, so I think that was a lot of Kim Mulkey in the ref's ear because the first
Hey,
half,
bro, and real talk, Kim Mulkey.
They was really LSU, they was really calling the physicality fouls on LSU. I mean, they called that one foul, Angel Reese, to put her on the bench, and she got a clean direct swipe at the ball. You
And
know,
Kim Mulkey, like, I've seen, how many texts have we seen on coaches because they too far on the court, they not in the coach's box, all that other,
oh, she
like we
even grabbed the ref.
like bro, like we literally saw a ref push Kim Mulkey back,
Dude,
and
no,
like
she
nothing, and
grabbed the ref.
we're like nothing's gonna happen. Like you can just like you can do that now.
Kim literally grabbed the ref. She grabbed the ref. She held the ref's arm while she was trying to run down the floor. I don't know if anybody noticed that.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you're a Hall of Fame coach. You get away with some shit like that. But I'll say this: like the game plan for she had a hell of a game plan. She said, "Look, Caitlin Clark's a generational talent. She's gonna get hers.
she's
She's
gonna
gonna
get
get hers. She's gonna get hers regardless, 30, 40, 50, whatever. We gonna lock down everybody else though.
yeah.
Everybody else.
And if you
And
look at
that's always been my thing with teams that have one star, right? And they
yeah,
have a whole bunch of average guys. It's like shut down the one star, and then let the one star go off and shut down everybody else.
she got Jordan ruled. Caitlin Clark basically got Jordan ruled. That's what happened. So Kim Mulkey told her players, "We going into this game. Hey, Caitlin Clark gonna get hers. Like Izzy's point when he comes back, Caitlin Clark gonna get hers. She's a generational talent. Caitlin Clark, and I think this is mostly because what's her name from UConn was out for the rest of the season. Paige Beckers tore her ACL, so Paige Beckers wasn't able to play. Caitlin Clark became the best player in women's college basketball this season, and it wasn't even close. For Kim Mulkey to be like, all right, we can allow Caitlin Clark to get hers. We can allow Caitlin Clark to get her 30. Because I don't have faith in those other guys to step up and help her out. And we saw that on Sunday. No other Iowa player scored more than 13 points for Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese by her standards, had a bad game. 15-10 for Angel Reese is a bad game. Think about that. 15-10 for Angel Reese is a bad game. Angel Reese had 35 double